Everybody, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are looking at the NBA slate for Tuesday. We have a 5-game slate tonight. So let's get started. As always, if you enjoy the videos, appreciate it. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Appreciate all the support you guys have been showing. Last night, we hit in cash games on DraftKings, missed by a few on FanDuel. So let's go ahead and look into tonight. So hopefully we can cash on both sides. We'll start off by looking at the PrizePicks once again. So I got 3 kind of props locked in here. We have the over on SGA points, 21.5. Now, first 2 games, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was a little bit disappointed, but we saw all the upside that he presents. You know, people were doubting him. And the most recent game against the Sixers, where he played 39 minutes, it was a somewhat close game. I mean, they were down by double digits in the fourth, but close enough to where SGA had to play. I mean, they were putting him out there for almost 40 minutes. The game against Houston was a blowout, and then the game against the Jazz was also a blowout. So any sort of close game that you get from these Thunder, you're going to see SGA approach north of 35 minutes, close to 40 minutes. And this game is my favorite one to stack up on the slate, where you have 2 still talented offenses. The Thunder are still very, very young. They're still very raw, but I think in a couple years they'll be pretty good. And then the Warriors, we know with Curry leading the way, they can just pile on the points. But expect this game to be high scoring. The Thunder are second worst so far in defensive rating, so I expect the Warriors to be able to put up some points. And then the price tags on the Warriors are really nice. Price tags on the Thunder also look pretty good. I'll take the over at 21.5. We have Christian Wood, 19.5, another guy that just plays so many minutes. Not the best matchup against Dallas, but not too worried about Dwight Powell there and to defend him. He will take north of 10 shots, most likely 14, 15, if not more, if he's shooting the ball really well. He's going to average more than 22 points on the season, I would say, just with how many minutes he's going to play and just the fact that he gets some of his points near the basket, but he can also stretch out and shoot some threes. So he will pose a little bit of a defensive nightmare for Dwight Powell. Maybe they have some time they put Porzingis on him if they wanted to, just because Porzingis can stretch the floor a little bit more than Powell. And then the last prop would be Steph Curry over assists. It's right now 6 on PrizePicks. You're getting Curry playing so many minutes as well. He's played 35, 38, 36. And he just has such a high usage rate that you probably wouldn't expect him to average 9 rebounds all season. But the assist, I think, will be there. He has 2 10-assist games, and then he has 1 1-assist game. But this one, you'll probably matched up against Lou Dort, who is a good defender, but I think Curry's no match for anybody. He's going to shoot from all over the place. He's going to look for his teammates. And I would say that getting a pretty good number at 6 on PrizePicks, even though that 1 is a little bit scary. But normally he's going to average about say 7 to 6, 7 assists by the time the season is over. So you're getting a pretty good number right now, where at only 6 in the best total game on the slate. So going back to DraftKings pricing, you're probably going to want to pay up for one of Luka or Steph Curry. They are separated by $100. You have Jokic there, but I don't know if you really want to play Jokic on a back-to-back against Rudy Gobert. So personally, I'm looking at the top 2 in terms of true spend-ups. Embiid is also in the mix at only 98. He's very cheap for some reason. The minutes have been there. The matchup here isn't the best. New York plays good defense. They have some size too. Makes life a little bit difficult for Embiid. They could put Robinson. They play Robinson and Reynolds together. They have Nerlens Noel who might play today. So I would say I like to probably prioritize one of the top 2, and then Embiid would be my 3rd favorite stud. Then you have LeBron, Davis, Westbrook, all in that 9K range. It's going to be tough all year to figure out which one goes off. So far, I've just not been playing them, and it's worked out nicely. I think you can do the same thing today if you don't have confidence in which one, because it's tough to pick. I guess in this matchup, Davis will have a good chance to have some success, because they could put Pirtle on him, which would be difficult, but right now, if he plays a 4, it would be matched up against Keldon Johnson, players that he would have the advantage over. And then Westbrook, just not somebody that I'll play a lot of. I just never play him. Usually I only play him whenever there's an injury or whenever his price tag is too low, but 9K, right now he just hasn't done a crazy amount in the Lakers uniform. He does fill up the stat sheet, but I would say he's not going to get close to 20 points most nights. With LeBron and Davis there, you're probably going to get teens points, probably double-digit assists, close to double-digit rebounds, but overall, at 9K, probably be looking at high 40s or mid-40s in fantasy points most nights. LeBron would be the guy you could look to. He's not even that expensive, but $9,400, I just personally feel a little bit better by going all the way up. The minutes for LeBron have been crazy the first three, 37, 37, and 40. they've had to play him that many because they lost the first 2 games and they barely beat the Grizzlies thanks to Morant just having a crazy good game, but he missed a free throw which would have sent it to overtime. But I really don't think they want to play LeBron that many minutes early on. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. But if they keep losing games, they're gonna have to play him because quickly the West is not gonna be a light up. The West is looking pretty tough. So going back to the point guard position, you have Luka and Steph Curry. I love this Thunder game to stack up. It's a 5-game slate. If you want to be unique, you can just pick one game to kind of stack both sides of. And looking at the price tags on both sides here, like if you look at the Warriors, you have a good price tag on Curry. Still expensive, but you can always blow that price tag out of the water. Then you have Jordan Poole, sub 6K, Andrew Wiggins, sub 6K. Those two would be great to get to. Draymond is now back to playing pretty much full minutes. He played 34 and 34 the last 2. He gives you triple-double upside, especially in this matchup against the Thunder. Can rack up some of those defensive stats as well. So you got like 4 players that look really nice on the Warriors side, and then on the Thunder side, a bunch of guys look good. SGA at 81, Josh Giddey 58, coming off of his best game so far in his first 3. And then you have Lou Dort at only 47. They are not going to have Derek Favors tonight, so you'll see like Mike Muscala most likely jump into the starting lineup, or Isaiah Roby, whoever they start, would be a nice value play. So the Thunder at home, hopefully they can keep it close, because if they do, you're going to get big minutes out of a core group of guys like SGA, Giddey, Baisley, Dort, and then possibly Muscala if he probably gets north of 20. But going back to point guard, right now I'm going to plug in Steph Curry. Nothing against Luka, but if I'm stacking up this Thunder game, it would make sense to have Luka Doncic there. Donovan Mitchell, 87, just somebody that I'm not going to get too much of at that price tag. Just thinking it needs to come down a little bit. The matchup isn't the best. That game is probably going to be one of the ones I don't have too much interest in. Nuggets on a back-to-back. You have 2 good defensive teams. Just feel like it's not going to be as high scoring as like the Dallas game or the Thunder game. Those are the top 2 to target, and then I throw in the Lakers would be my third. Other guys at point guard besides Luka and Steph Curry. Scrolling down a little bit, SGA would be my favorite mid-range play at $8,100. I like Derek White at 65. He plays good minutes, gets you some defensive stats, hits some threes, gets some assists, has a ball in his hands a little bit. So he looks like a good safe option. I like his price tag a little bit more than DeJounte Murray's, who is north of $7,200, $7,300. For the value picks here, I like Jordan Poole. He is $5,900. He showed all of his ceiling last game, played 32 minutes, 8 of 16 from the floor. A guy that can fill up the stat sheet with the threes. You're not going to do too many rebounding or assisting, but you'll knock down a chance to knock down a lot of shots. Plays decent minutes. The matchup is really solid. You expect like Dort to be locked in on like Curry, maybe some on Wiggins. So hopefully he'll have a little bit open shots to take. So besides Poole, Wiggins is at a good price tag at only $5,800. He's going to have some very good games. So far, he's just been kind of passive, letting Curry and Jordan Poole take a lot of the usage on offense, but would not be surprised if Wiggins starts to capitalize on this sort of cheap price tag. $5,800 is just a little bit too cheap. Conley at 57 is probably one piece that I don't mind getting to on the Jazz side, just because he has a chance to really put up like 35, 36 fantasy points, which would be great at that price tag. Barrett is 56. Just tough to get to some of these Knicks now that they have so many guys and they're all healthy. Besides Randall, I don't really have that much confidence in Barrett or Derrick Rose or Kemba Walker. They're going to have good games every once in a while, but it's just tough to kind of pick which one. Whereas, the Warriors and the Thunder, you only have a core group of guys that really have a chance to put up some fantasy points. Now at the value end here, Damian Lee looks like a decent option at $3,800. And that's the main option right now. I don't see anybody else that's that cheap at point guard. Brunson is 42 if you wanted to go to him. But I like Jordan Poole at that price tag. And maybe you can look to like Tyrese Maxey, but he's 6K. I'll probably get up to Derek White instead. At shooting guard, Donovan Mitchell is 87. It's a position that you can typically spend down on, and I think this slate is no different. I like Seth Curry's been 13 of 17 from 3 to start the season. Absolute ridiculous pace for him. Knocked down 7 of 10, so now he's made 11 of his last 14 threes, which is just crazy. Started off the first quarter insanely hot against the Thunder. Maybe that's something like his brother can do tonight. Steph can kind of lit up the Thunder hopefully in the first quarter and kind of finish with a really good game. Jordan Poole 59 and the Wiggins Zeus 3 look like good options here. Will Barton, if you want it to be a little bit different, I don't mind getting to him. Good price tag. He plays really solid minutes. They had a surprising loss last night to the Cavs, so you would expect them to come back and try to get the win against the Jazz. It's not going to be easy, but you don't want to see them lose 2 games in a row. Then Lou Dort is only $4,700. I kind of like getting to him on this slate just because he's super affordable. And he's going to play huge minutes. Whether he has success defending Curry or not, I just feel like there's no way they're going to put anybody else on Steph Curry. They're going to get absolutely cooked. So Dort should hopefully match Curry minutes-wise, and that would be like getting close to 40 minutes out of Lou Dort, a guy that can hit some open threes. He's been always struggling. Sometimes he can get hot. We saw it last year, but he's a guy that will get you probably a steal or two, get you some rebounds, maybe a couple of assists here and there. But he's taken almost 10 shots, averaging 10 shots in 3 games, which is a pretty good for that price tag at only 47. It's gone down from 6K to 51 to 48. So we're getting a good price tag on Dort right now that definitely has some ceiling on that price tag. Then for the value picks here, like maybe PJ Dozier, just like a pump play. But Devin Vassell is only $3,300. That price tag is really cheap for Devin Vassell. If you wanted to look to anybody on the Spurs side, he would be one option to kind of take a shot on. Moving on to small forward, we have Tim Hardaway at 67. That price tag is just a little bit too high. Michael Porter Jr. was pretty popular last night. Didn't do much at all. But the price tag on him is still reasonable at only 62. It's underpriced. So you can look to him if you wanted to. I don't mind that at all. Wiggins and Josh Giddey, I like both guys in a pretty good spot in terms of pace and in terms of a high total. Josh Giddey coming off of 47 fantasy points, filled up the stat sheet. He's going to do big things for the Thunder. Just him and SG are going to make a nice 1-2 punch on offense. First couple of games struggled a little bit, but normally I think over the course of the season he's going to be looking to take 10-plus shots. And this one, I like to get to him at $5,800. Price tag has jumped up, but I think hopefully he can build off of that confidence from last game. And on a 5-game slate, I think he has similar upside to some of these guys right here. If not, maybe a little bit higher ceiling just with the team that he plays on and just not having that many other options. So at the bottom end, you have like Otto Porter. Maybe Danny Green can start hitting some shots. Alec Burks is only 38. He's going to get some opportunity to maybe hit like mid-20s in fantasy points. So do have some fair share of options here. And then I think Devin Vassell is just too cheap here. Yeah, definitely too cheap at $3,300. Moving on to power forward. Top end of power forward, you have Anthony Davis, Julius Randle, LeBron James. It's pretty top heavy. Out of the top 3, it's tough not to go with Julius Randle with just how many minutes that he plays. And definitely not that guy. Tough not to go with Julius Randle with just how many minutes he plays and the role that he has and the usage. He took 24 shots last game, took 27 in the first game. Embiid is not the easiest matchup, obviously. He's going to make it tough for Randle. But just with all the usage and the shots that he's going to take, he's going to play close to like 35 to 40 minutes almost every night, except in like a huge blowout like the second game was. You got to like Julius Randle at a pretty good price tag compared to the other 3. Don't really like Tobias Harris at all, $8,000. If there is Embiid, if there's no Embiid, then you would look fine, but price tag is kind of expensive. I like Draymond. Porzingis is fine at 76, but maybe like Draymond in a nice pace-up spot, maybe get a triple-double or get close to it. Keldon Johnson, I like him at $5,200. He is going to be one of the leading scorers on the Spurs this year. No DeRozan anymore. They traded away Aldridge midway last year, so they just don't have that many other guys to look to for offense. It's basically going to be DeJounte Murray, Derek White, Keldon Johnson. Then you'll occasionally get, maybe Doug McDermott getting red hot from 3 like that second game, or you're going to get a good bench game from Devin Vassell. But Keldon Johnson taking 18, and 12 shots. He's played 28, 29, and 37 minutes, so minutes a little bit all over the place. First game was a blowout, so that could kind of attribute to that. And then back-to-back, so we know Pop might like to limit some of his starters on a back-to-back. Only played 29. But normally I would say he's going to be looking at like mid-30s, 34, 35 over the course of the season. A guy that can shoot the ball, not great from 3, but he can kind of drive, hit some mid-range shots, get some rebounds. I think at this price tag he's well worth a shot. Gives you 40-point fantasy upside at a low 5K price tag. Moving on to center, it is a spot where I think Embiid looks like the best. Embiid is only 300 more than Randle. Probably like Embiid a little bit more than Randle. Randle will be my second guy. Personally, I'm not that interested in Gobert or Jokic scoring off against each other. The price tag on Gobert is only $8,200, but I'd probably like to get to Christian Wood instead for $200 more. And then the bottom end, Jakob Poeltl is fine at 56. He's been good defensively. Going to get the minutes to match up against AD and all the bigs that they throw out there, with whether it be Dwight Howard and occasionally if they decide to play some minutes with DeAndre Jordan. And at the bottom end, looking at the value play would be Isaiah Roby if he starts, or if Mike Muscala starts. He looks great at $3,500 for a good value play. Moving on to the guard spot, I think you can go a number of ways. If you're looking to stick with that, the Warriors Thunder game, Wiggins is only $5,800. I think he has a good chance to capitalize on that price tag soon. Just a little bit too cheap, still without Klay Thompson. I think he's normally going to be in the mid 6K range. We've yet to see him kind of have a huge game so far. He's been fine. Normally Wiggins just kind of goes out there, stands around for a little bit, takes some shots, he's aggressive when he has to be, but hopefully today he's done pretty well against the Thunder, if I remember correctly. I think it's the one team that he's really crushed. So I wouldn't be surprised if Wiggins comes out and has a very good game. Now that his minutes are back over 30, getting close to, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets close to like mid 30s, in a couple of weeks once he's back to full speed. And then last guy I'm going to plug in is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Round out the complete game stack here. Curry, pair him with Andrew Wiggins. Maybe compare him with Jordan Poole if you wanted to instead. But then you get SGA, Josh Giddey, and Lou Dort on the other side. All three should play big minutes in a close game, which hopefully can be. And SGA, I think he can build off of last game's performance. Good spot against the Warriors at home to kind of rack up the stat sheet. We all know the upside that he brings. So his price tag did jump up, but legitimately has 50-point, close to 60-point upside at a low $8,000 price tag. Just too cheap for a guy that will play close to 40 minutes in a close game. So that's it. I know, lots of Warriors and Thunder for me on this one. I think it is the best game to target, followed by the Houston-Dallas game. And then I like some of the price tags on the Spurs, and then maybe some of the price tags on like the Jazz, and then maybe you got like Michael Porter Jr. had a good price tag on the Nuggets side, and then don't really see myself going to the Philly Knicks game unless Embiid is out or we get some other big piece of news there. Well, that's it for the DraftKings side. Let's talk about FanDuel. All right, FanDuel point guard options. You have Luka and Curry, top end, 10-9 and 10-4. They're both at great price tags. You can try to get to both if you wanted to, but it's going to go ahead and plug in Steph Curry on both sides. Then you have Donovan Mitchell, 86, Westbrook, 91. Don't have much interest in them compared to the top two. I think I probably like Westbrook more than Donovan Mitchell at only 500 more. But then SGA is only 71. It looks like a great guy to plug into your other point guard spot, or you can play him at shooting guard. I like Derek White's price tag at $6,500. Kevin Porter is too cheap. Jordan Poole is at a great price tag, $57. And then you have some options that you could look to like Tyrese Maxey, Seth Curry. Then all the way at the bottom, you have Kemba Walker's only 48. That makes sense for tournaments. At that price tag, he's losing some minutes to Derrick Rose. But we all know if he comes out, hits some threes, he's going to be on the court and we can drop 40 plus. So he gives you that sort of GPP ceiling that you are looking for on a small slate. At shooting guard, give me SGA at that price tag is just too cheap. $7,100, one of the best games to target on this 5-game slate. Wiggins at 64. I think looks like a good guy you can plug in at small forward or at this spot. Or Will Barton, Jalen Green coming off 8 of 10 from 3. He's fine. His price tag, I kind of like his teammate a little bit more, but I think he looks okay. I like Jordan Poole, Will Barton, especially Jordan Poole at 57. Tyrese Maxey had a great first game. Last couple he's been a little bit disappointing, but he's still at a good price tag to kind of consider. But Josh Giddey would be the guy I like to get to at 53, probably the most out of those guys I just mentioned. And then all the way at the bottom, you have like Lou Dort at only $4,800. That looks like a great option. Probably a small forward, because shooting guard, you do have a number of other good options here. You can even play Luka at the other shooting guard spot. Small forward, you have Tobias, LeBron, two guys I think are okay, but I think I can do a little bit better. So give me like Kevin Porter at $5,900 or Lou Dort at only 48. Kevin Porter is too cheap at 59. I know he's had one great game and then 2 bad games, but he still has a lot of opportunity, still playing huge minutes. The price tag should come up this year. He's just not going to be this cheap for most of the season as soon as he starts to kind of not turn the ball over every other possession. So I would look to him, and then I look to like Lou Dort as a good value option at only $4,800. And then you have like Doug McDermott at 44 if you needed a cheap option. We saw what he could do if he gets hot from 3, but he's a little bit like the tournament option, nothing crazy. Power forward, you have Julius Randle at 97, Davis at 10.5. They're okay priced. I think Kristaps is the best option, some of the top end based on his price tag at only 7,000. And you have Draymond at only 64. That price tag is just too cheap for Draymond Green. We all know the upside that he brings triple-double wise. He can rack up some of those defensive stats, which are super important on FanDuel. And then Christian Wood at 84. He looks okay on both sides. Right now, I'd say I think you can also look to Darius Bazley. It's $5,400. So we'll see. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and plug in Draymond Green. You can also play Green at center if you wanted to, but I don't mind playing him power forward. And then at center, if you wanted to go all the way up, look to like Embiid. Maybe look to Christian Wood. Rudy Gobert, they're fine. Kristaps at 7,000. Jakob looks a lot better on DraftKings at 6 than compared to 68. Then you're gonna get a good value play on the Thunder side, whether that's gonna be Mike Muscala starting, or whether they decide to start Roby. I feel like whoever starts is gonna see 20 plus minutes. If you get 20 plus minutes out of Mike Muscala at 38, you can put up like close to low 20s in fantasy points, maybe 25. I think he can be a good option. I assume he starts because Roby wasn't even the rotation last game, but Roby will probably get some backup center minutes, and then you'll see Mike Muscala, Roby maybe split some of the time. Then you also have that rookie that played some, but I would say if Mike Muscala should be in line to get like 25-ish minutes tonight. So that's it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Best of luck tonight, and I'll see you all next time.